Hi there, and welcome to another Mickey's Roundtable adventure where we explore everything Disney, one themed adventure at a time. For this adventure, I headed to Walt Disney World here in Florida, visited all 4 theme parks and every single attraction that doesn't have a lightning lane. You're not going to want to miss this Mickey's Roundtable adventure. Before I get into the video, I wanted to cover very briefly the history of lightning lanes. The lightning lanes, before they were lightning lanes, they were fast passes. In 1999 at Walt Disney World, they introduced fast passes. You had to physically be in the park. You had to physically be at the attraction you wanted the fast pass for, and then there would be kiosks. You would take your ticket, you'd slide it into the kiosk, and then it would spit out a separate little ticket with a return time on it, and that's how you used your fast pass. They were free for everybody. You were in the park, you could use them. Then in 2014, they introduced Fast Pass Plus at Walt Disney World. Fast Pass Plus, you could use your app, you could use your phone, you could reserve them in advance, you could have up to 3 at a time. All the kind of aspects of Fast Pass that we kind of know and remember. Then in 2020, after the global pandemic, they suspended Fast Passes and they never came back. Instead, they introduced lightning lanes. Lightning lanes then became a paid service, a paid extra. You'd go through your phone and do the whole thing. There was Genie, Genie Plus, individual lightning lane. It was kind of confusing. It has since been rebranded into individual lightning lanes. There'll be a couple of attractions in each park where you can buy a lightning lane just for that attraction. There's the multi-pass lightning lane. That's for all of the other attractions at that particular park, not including the individual lightning lanes. This still sounds confusing. And you would have to pick a specific return time window and would have to only use it or could only use it during that return time window. Then just recently they came out with a premier lightning lane that you pay a whole ton of money and then you can use the lightning lanes whenever you want. You're limited to 1 ride per day for each attraction with the lightning lane, but you're not constricted by time or anything like that. Now, in addition to all of the lightning lane attractions, there are, of course, many attractions that do not have lightning lane. You can't get one even if you wanted to. So that's what I did with this adventure. Now, I've been lazy. I took the adventure in the first week of January of 2025. It is now the last week of February as I'm recording in the studio. When I get this posted on the internet, it's going to be early March. But I took the adventure, took the trip, and headed over to the parks when I did because there were attractions that were going to be closing that now, as I'm recording this, they're closed forever. There's some that are under refurbishment. So anyway, I headed over to Animal Kingdom first because the first attraction that I did is one of those attractions that, as I'm recording this now, is closed. It's gone forever. Triceratops Spin at Dino Land USA at Hester and Chester's Dino-Rama. It's a fun little ride. It's not anything super special, but it fits the theme of the area. It fits the storyline or fitted. Talking in present tense, it's gone. But there was a cohesive storyline throughout the entire land about how all of the attractions came together and are tied together with a singular story. This new Tropical Americas that they're building, Encanto and Indiana Jones have nothing to do with each other. There's no cohesive storyline. It's just random assortment of attractions that kind of have some vague geographic connection, and that's it. Anyway, I digress. From there, I headed on to several other attractions areas there at Animal Kingdom, including the Boneyard, which is still open. It will be closing sometime later this year, early next year. That is the playground at Dino Land USA. That's fantastic. If I was a little kid, that would be amazing. Slides and places to climb, and there's a sand pit you can dig out and excavate a woolly mammoth skeleton. The boneyard I've covered on a recent video about walkthrough attractions at Walt Disney World. Also at Animal Kingdom, I covered this in my walkthrough attractions video, the Maharaja Jungle Trek. That's in the Asia area. And over in the Africa area, you will find the Gorilla Falls Trail. Neither of those have a lightning lane option for them. Right next to Gorilla Falls, you'll find the Wildlife Express. No lightning lane for that either. That will take you to Rafiki's Planet Watch and the Conservation Station. From Animal Kingdom, then I headed over to Magic Kingdom. In Magic Kingdom, I was going to take one of the Main Street vehicles up towards the castle. There's multiple different options. They've got the big bus. There's several different cars. There's a horse-drawn trolley that can take you up the street. I wanted to catch one of those options. It didn't matter which one. And they were not running when I happened to be there. And so I made my way over to Liberty Square and the Liberty Square Riverboat. Not gone yet, not as I'm recording this video, not as I did the adventure. That's the only ride that actually runs on a schedule. You can look at your watch and you can say, hey, boat's leaving in 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it happens to be. You can bring food on it. If you got ECVs and wheelchairs in your party, the whole party can go on board. You're not limited to just one or two at a time. The train over at Animal Kingdom, I think they can take as many as 3 or 4 ECVs at a time, but they're all in separate cars. The riverboat, they can all ride at the same time in the same spot on the boat. So many nice things about the riverboat. Since I did this adventure and since I've recorded my previous videos about the riverboat, there was a delay in the permitting process for the destruction. They are going to be closing it. They haven't announced a date on when it will be closing. I fear it's going to be all too soon, but the permits have been approved, unfortunately, and sometime in the near future, possibly before the end of the year, it will be gone forever. So if you get a chance to enjoy that, by all means, head over to the riverboat. It is fantastic, and it will be very, very missed. Also up for closure in the not too distant future, no dates announced yet, Tom Sawyer Island. I love Tom Sawyer Island. That is, you can run around, you can wander, you can explore the caves and the Barrel Bridge. I wish there was more there, but it is a really neat spot, and it's really sad that they're going to be getting rid of that as well. But I hit that one up as well on this no lightning lane day. Also there in Liberty Square, Frontierland area, is the Hall of Presidents. Now, since I did this adventure, it has been closed down. Not permanently, not yet anyway. It's just undergoing a regular refurbishment. Every time there's an election, every time there's a change in presidents, they change things around to reflect the current occupant of the White House. And because we just had a change in government, there's going to be a change at the Hall of Presidents. The next video that I'm going to do after this one is actually a President's Day video. I'm going to talk about that a lot more in other presidential history and things at Walt Disney World beyond the Hall of Presidents. So anyway, did the Hall of Presidents. From there, I headed over into Adventureland. In Adventureland, there's a couple of different attractions that don't have a lightning lane. The Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse, another one that I covered in that walkthrough attractions at Walt Disney World video. And then the Enchanted Tiki Room. Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room. And it's a lot of the things that I love about Walt Disney Parks and the whole thing and the connection to Walt Disney. Right next door to that, back into Frontierland, just right through the little breezeway there, is the Country Bear Jamboree. I'm sorry, it's the Country Bear Musical Jamboree. They changed it not too long ago. I did a video on that. I got to see the very last Country Bear Jamboree before they switched it over to the Country Bear Musical Jamboree. Before it was country songs, now it's Disney songs done with kind of a country flair. It's okay. I like the old show. It felt more old-timey. The songs, I think, were from like the 1940s, 50s. They were not old 1800s songs, but they felt like they could have been. Now it's all modern Disney songs, or fairly modern Disney songs. And there's electric guitars, and they're wearing outfits that you would expect to see in Nashville in the 1950s, not the 1850s or 60s. And so I think there's a disconnect for me, or it being in Frontierland, which is set in the 1800s. Hey, I know, we'll have the Country Bears sing Bare Necessities from the Jungle Book. Okay, we need 10 more minutes of this. What are we going to do? And then they just extended it out too long. So it loses some of its uniqueness and doesn't add enough new, I don't know. It's okay. From the Country Bear Musical Jamboree, I headed over to the Walt Disney World Railroad Station there in Frontierland, right between Big Thunder Mountain and the ride previously known as Splash Mountain. I love the train. You can do a full lap. It takes about 20 minutes, or you can get off at any one of the other stations, Fantasyland or Main Street USA. I just rode it to Fantasyland, Storybook Circus, and the Prince Charming Regal Carousel. There's not a lightning lane for that one either. That, I believe, is the oldest attraction, oldest ride in all of Walt Disney World. It's an actual old-time carousel that they found and refurbished and brought into Magic Kingdom. It's a cool, neat old attraction. Love the carousel. Not something I'm going to go on every single time I'm in the park, but I do enjoy it when I'm on there, provided there's no screaming kids and angry parents. And anyway, also there in Fantasyland, not a ride, not a walk-through attraction. It is listed as an attraction, I believe. Enchanted Tales with Belle. It's an interactive show. You and the other members of the audience are taken into Maurice's workshop and then through a magic mirror on the wall. It is a really cool effect. You go into the Beast Castle and the library, and there you surprise Belle and help retell the story of Beauty and the Beast.
Everyone then would say, bonjour.
Bonjour, everyone.
Bonjour.
There's audience participation. If you've got little kids, this is a really good activity and show for them because they get to participate in it. Adults can participate in it. Everybody can participate in it. It's a fun show. If you participate in the story, in the show, you get a photo with Belle, and it's really kind of neat. So from there, then I headed on into Tomorrowland, and by the time I got to Tomorrowland, I decided, you know what? There's no way I'm going to be able to fit in the other two parks and all of the non-Lightning Lane attractions in those parks as well. So I decided I'm going to come back tomorrow and visit those other two parks, but I was going to finish up my Magic Kingdom day. I was going to take my time a little bit more, didn't have to feel like I was rushing through to get in all of these attractions in one day. There's Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room. The other Walt Disney branded attraction is there in Tomorrowland, Walt Disney's Carousel of Progress. Like the Tiki Room, it's old-timey Disney goodness. Fantastic. The history goes back to Disneyland and the New York World's Fair before that, and Walt Disney's actual hand in designing and building that attraction. Then there is the Astro Orbiter. The Astro Orbiter, I believe, currently as I'm recording in the studio here, that's down for refurbishment. I've only been in the park once where I got a chance to look into Tomorrowland and actually see it, and it's like gone. It must be off being worked on somewhere, and they'll put it back. I assume they're putting it back. They haven't announced they're closing it. Like the Triceratops spin, like Dumbo, it's a spinner ride, but this one's like super high up in the air, and it's kind of cool. You can't be afraid of heights, though. Let me just say that. And then last but not least, there is the Tomorrowland Transit Authority People Mover. That takes you on a grand circle tour through Tomorrowland. It's cool. You get views of Tomorrowland that you can't really get any other way. So my first day doing my No Lightning Lane Attractions adventure was complete, except for those Main Street vehicles. They were not running earlier when I got to the park. But fortunately, as I was leaving, there was one more car left taking guests up to the castle from Town Square. But I managed to get a ride on one of those vehicles up to the castle from Town Square. And this is twice in a row now that I've taken a Main Street vehicle, and the driver offered to let me sit up in the basically ride shotgun up next to the driver's seat. The last one was my Christmas video at Magic Kingdom. You can check that out. I got to ride in the front of the omnibus. This was one of the smaller cars, but cool nonetheless, and I managed to get it in and hit all of the non-Lightning Lane attractions at both Animal Kingdom and then Magic Kingdom. For my second day of my No Lightning Lane Attractions adventure, I headed over to Epcot first. My first stop was the relatively new Moana's Journey of Water, inspired by Moana, a walkthrough attraction that does not have a Lightning Lane option for it. You just show up and you walk through and play in the water. It's okay. Yeah. Right next door is the Seas Pavilion. There is a ride in the Seas Pavilion, and it does have a Lightning Lane. You don't have to go on the ride. If you go to the left, you go in through the gift shop, and there you'll find the Sea Base Aquarium. In addition to all the fish and sea life and manatees that you can see in there, there's also a small play area called Bruce's Shark World. I didn't go in and play, but if you've got kids, if you are a kid, that looks like it would be very, very fun and a cool photo op. You get to go inside the shark's mouth. And anyway, that also does not have a Lightning Lane option for it. You just go in and have fun. From there, I headed on over to the Land Pavilion right next door. Inside the Land Pavilion, in addition to the two attractions, Living with the Land and Soarin', you will find Awesome Planet, a movie about our awesome planet. It's an okay film. If you've got time, I don't know. It's okay. I'm trying to think of how to describe the film. It's basically a kind of a sales pitch. A real estate agent, narrator, Ty Burrell, I believe it is, talks about how awesome our planet is, and it truly is awesome, and basically describes it in the way that a real estate agent would be listing
This
his
property is one of a kind.
Here are all the amazing things about this location that would make it a great place to live. From there, then I made it over to World Showcase and the Canada Pavilion for another movie. This one is a 360 movie, a Circle Vision 360 movie, Canada Far and Wide. It's an okay film. It's interesting to me that, Canada's #2 export is comedians, and they have some fantastic comedians narrating the movie, yet there's virtually no humor in it whatsoever. Still a very interesting film, very cool to be in that Circle Vision 3D theater, and you look all the way around you, and they do some really cool things using that format to showcase how amazing Canada is as a country. Rather than continuing around counterclockwise around the World Showcase, lagoon. I headed back over the other way, went clockwise past Mexico to Norway and the Stav Church Gallery. It's still kind of irritating to me that it's a Christian church that features pagan gods. You know, why not have the whole history of religion in Norway, not just the earliest religion pre-Christianity, if it's going to be in a Christian church. Anyway, it's a neat exhibit on Thor and Loki, not the Marvel Comics Loki and Thor, but you know, the actual gods from Norse times, Viking times. Then it was on to China and another Circle Vision 3D film, Reflections of China. Again, same cool format, and talking about the history and the geography and China itself. Before you go into the theater, though, there is also a small exhibit that you can go into that talks about Shanghai Disneyland. If you're curious about what's at that Disney park, overseas park, there's a cool exhibit about the different attractions and costumes and all kinds of things that they have on display in there as well. From there, I headed on over to the American Adventure Pavilion and the American Adventure Show. Now, before you go into the show, in the rotunda there's artwork on the wall. Currently, it's Profiles in Courage, paintings of American servicemen and women, wounded warriors, actually painted by former President George W. Bush. And then there's the Native American Gallery. This is a really cool show, and I say show, it's not just a movie like the Circle Vision 3D movies. It's a multimedia presentation with animatronics, video, stills, paintings, all kinds of cool stuff interacting to tell the story of America. Really cool show. I would love to see behind the scenes on this attraction, this show. I think probably more than any other or most others, just to see how they do it. Because one thing will pop up out of the stage, animatronic, George Washington on his horse or something, and 5 minutes later, it's Frederick Douglass in the exact same spot on a raft. I don't know how they do that. It's got to be some cool mechanics going on underneath there. And the next attraction that I visited on this list, on this adventure, likewise a movie over in the France Pavilion. It's actually two different movies in the same theater. The two shows are Impressions de France, a film about France and the history and culture like the Canada and China movies. That one was only in the morning, so I missed that. I didn't get a chance to do that. And then during the middle of the day, you know how they have to insert their IP into everything. There was a Beauty and the Beast sing-along. It's kind of fun, but it's an odd storyline. They kind of retcon it to here's the real story of Beauty and the Beast, is how LeFou actually manipulated things so that Belle and Beast could get together and whatnot. And it kind of takes from the overall experience, because you're supposed to go in there and you sing along with the songs. Is there a bad song in the movie Beauty and the Beast? I don't think so. But because they have to explain this backstory, half of the movie is explaining the backstory rather than just getting everybody into the songs. From Epcot, then I headed over to my last park on my No Lightning Lane adventure, Hollywood Studios. When you head into Hollywood Studios, as you head up towards the Chinese theater there, if you go to the left, you will find a little spot and a sign that says Vacation Fun. It's a small theater where they play a Mickey Mouse short called Vacation Fun. Mickey and Minnie are going on vacation. It's an okay little movie, but it's not Mickey Mouse. It's the modern version of Mickey Mouse. He kind of looks like classic Mickey, but he's this new style that I really, really don't care for in the first place. But more than that, he doesn't act like Mickey Mouse. From the very beginning of the film, he's all stressed out. That's not who Mickey Mouse is. You watch the old cartoons, he's happy-go-lucky and he gets into a scrape. Watch The Brave Little Tailor. That's how Mickey should be under stress.
I was all alone. I heard them coming. I looked up, and I was surrounded.
Yes?
They were here, there, everywhere. A whole bunch of them. They get everything from the right, left, right. Yes, yes, go on. They were coming closer. The fight is on. I swear I missed the swing. I swear again. They were right on top of me. And then I let them have it. Well, so long. I'll be seeing you. I hope.
I don't know. It's not Mickey Mouse. It's not classic Mickey, and I don't care for it. Of course, the beauty of it is a short film, and you get out of the heat of the summer or the weather if other lines are too long or whatever. Not a bad place to go. And like all of the other attractions that I'm talking about in this video, there's no lightning lane option. You just go on in and enjoy the show. Well, I didn't enjoy the show, but you can enjoy the show if it's your cup of tea. As I said, when you enter Hollywood Studios and you head up towards the Chinese Theater, that is to the left. If you go to the right of the Chinese Theater, you will find Star Wars Launch Bay. It's kind of a museum of Star Wars. There's props and models and things like that in there. It's mostly a big empty space. There's some meet and greets. I have no idea why they are not bulldozing that and turning that into another attraction as opposed to ripping up a Vision 3D or Tom Sawyer Island or any of the other attractions that they're planning on getting rid of and replacing with something new. There's nothing there. It's an empty building for the most part. It was repurposed and, hey, let's put Star Wars stuff in there. And it's been sitting like that for a number of years. Again, there's some cool stuff in there. Again, if you're a Star Wars fan, it's cool. But anyway, I digress. Right next to that is the Walt Disney Presents Theater. You go in and it is a museum of the history of Walt Disney and the Disney parks. And if you're a Disney fan, like I'm a Disney fan, it's probably the coolest part of Hollywood Studios. You go in and there's all these exhibits and very cool stuff. And then at the very, very end, the entrance to the theater, you go in and you watch the movie about the life of Walt Disney and who he was and why everything that's around you is around you because of who that man was. And anyway, I love the movie, love the show, love the museum and the exhibit. No lightning lane option for that either. You can just walk in and enjoy it to your heart's content without any real wait. You have to wait for the movie because, while one's playing, you can't go in. So that will wrap up my 2-day adventure of riding every attraction or experiencing every attraction at Walt Disney World that does not have a lightning lane. As I'm recording my in-studio footage here, I keep catching myself saying, this attraction doesn't need a lightning lane. None of them need a lightning lane. You don't have to pay for a lightning lane to go on any of the attractions or rides. You show up and there's a standby line. Until recently, Tiana's Breakdown Adventure had a virtual queue only. They now have a standby line. Same thing with the Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind over there at Epcot. They used to be only virtual queue. They now have a standby line as well. So I think that's all of the attractions all have standby lines. So you don't need the lightning lane. You can get one if you have some money and you want to spend it. But it seems like there's confusion over it. People seem like they think they have to have one. You don't have to have one. Or if they do have one, they don't realize that they can go on other rides without lightning lanes as well. I'll overhear guests talk, well, we don't have a lightning lane until such and such a whatever attraction. What do we want to do until then? And they don't know what to do. Well, just hop in another line. Oh, this one's short, and then you get off that. Go ride the riverboat. Sorry. Go ride the riverboat. You know when that leaves and when it comes back, and then you can go over to Haunted Mansion or whatever it is you want to do. Anyway, not a fan of the lightning lanes. I've never used a lightning lane. I don't know if I ever will. But yeah, if you have the money and you want to spend it, it is a great way to maximize the amount of time that you have when you're in the parks. But if you have time or you don't have to hit every single thing, you can manage to do all of the things that you want to do without paying the extra money. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for this Mickey's Roundtable adventure. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for watching all the way through to the end. If you like the video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. And what am I up to? I'm up 225. Anyway, I'm trying to build my number of subscribers. Slowly but surely it goes up. If you want to help me out with that, that would be greatly appreciated. But until next time, we'll see you real soon.